Alright, hello and welcome. So, Vauban got some tweaks and also his deluxe skin, so today we're going to be taking a look at Vauban's entire kit and of course the deluxe skin as well. So, let's just get right into this. First and foremost, talking about the deluxe skin. So, right off the bat, I'm going to be completely honest with you. The Nidus deluxe skin just came out before this, and trying to follow that up is not easy. Very difficult, in fact. So while I think this skin is nice, not like crazy excited for it in any gigantic way. I think it looks fine. It looks alright. Pretty good in like the fashion that I got it to. I'm fairly happy with it. At base, it looks like this. And at base, it's got a problem that you definitely need to patch up, I think, if you're going to use this skin. So from the front, he's got these like awesome moving pistons and the smoke, and there's so much detail and it all looks great. But when you spin him around, it kind of all disappears. And it turns out you're looking at the back of your Warframe for most of the game. So there's just a lack of detail here, and like with these like crazy details that the front gets, that the skin feels really unbalanced. Like whenever you're customizing it, it looks really cool, but whenever you're actually doing things, unless you have a really cool Sindana that like helps this problem, you kind of just get like weird, really basic feeling skin, which doesn't really happen a lot with the deluxe skins. That being said, it does color very well, so there's a lot of color combinations, I suppose, that you can get to that I think you'd be very happy with. But yeah, it's just like a weirdly unbalanced one. You definitely need to have a Sindana that you like want to use on this, I think, in order to make it as good a skin as it can be, which is of course what I did with my main setup. So we have that, and you can see, like, I think this Sindana patches this up fairly well, just because this Sindana is very nice. But yeah, anyway, moving on, other stuff in that pack. He's got the Heavy Blade skin. This is just the default colors here. I'm not huge on it. It's kind of small. I expected it to be larger from the screenshots that they showed before it came out. It colors the exact same way that Vauban does. And if you were looking for a Heavy Blade skin, it's pretty good. If we go to default colors here really quickly, it actually folds out whenever you actually equip it into more of an actual axe shape, as opposed to like the weird broom flipper it is whenever it's folded up. So it is much nicer looking whenever it's folded out. And then in addition to that skin, you also get the Marquis Sugatra, which is down there, and we'll show some colors on that real quick. Sugatras, I don't think a lot of people are like particularly jazzed about, just because they're always like very simple and they're very small. You don't see them a whole lot, so I don't know how excited people would be about a Sugatra. And then moving on, let's talk quickly about Vauban's abilities and the changes that were made. So Tesla has always been kind of a joke ability that people throw around on their allies to annoy and bug them. So in an attempt to fix Tesla to actually make it useful at all, DE has given it a charge mechanic in which you can double its damage and give it 100% status chance. So that basically is useless. So usually this is gone about, you like just throw a bunch out. If you're going to use this ability at all, you just like spam a bunch out and then this will zap enemies, and it's pretty funny. But now you can hold one, and you can get your ye olde Chidori going, and then throw one out at a time that is slightly stronger. Needless to say, this charge up time is hilariously terrible, and this ability is so bad that I don't know why they didn't just give it 100% status and double its damage to try and fix it. Implementing a charge mechanic seems woefully unaware of how bad this ability really is. Moving on, though, let's talk about Vauban's other stuff. First and foremost, his 2. So his 2 used to just be Bounce, and now it is Bounce, Trip Laser, Shred, and Concuss, and it is still the exact same amount of usefulness as it was previous to those changes. Obviously, Mind Layer was changed a long time ago, but I never really talked about it, so we're going to do so now. So Bounce is a fun, pretty memey ability where you put a trampoline down for you and your teammates. You control your teammates with this. and every once in a while, hey, maybe it'll be some fun to use on some enemies. Trip Laser is basically that exact same thing. Concuss is a stun grenade that is just not actually very useful. And Shred, while it has the potential to be the thing you actually use this ability for if you're trying to get something actually done and not just troll, unfortunately, it does not work the same way that Oberon's 4 does, and it has a duration associated with it for some inconceivable reason. So basically, you throw it at an enemy, you get a 40% armor reduction on them. If you could like just spam 3 out at base strength and like 100% reduce enemy armor in a small duration or a small area, that'd probably be great. But because of the duration and because it doesn't work like Oberon's 4, where the stripping is added together up to a total, where if like you threw 2 of these, you would get 80% and then 120%. 120%, of course, stripping 100%, all of it. It doesn't work like that. So it's just useless. Like it's just bad. So everything in the mine layer is either for memes or bad and not useful. And then moving on, we have Bastille, which is classically the thing that you would come to Vauban for. However, the game has kind of moved past the amount of CC that Vauban was providing back in the day, and also raids are gone, which is kind of where this really saw use, and the meta of the game is now murder, not just stopping your opponents, so this ability is not very useful. It has an enemy cap, it has a 15-second duration, which is probably the best thing about the ability, and its radius is only 10 meters, so this is a very spam-heavy ability if you want to crowd control an area, and there are a lot of Warframes that just do what Bastille does better than Bastille, easier than Bastille, and usually at a lower energy cost, so it's not particularly useful anymore. And then we have Vortex. Vortex and Bastille do a lot of the same thing, except for Vortex just clumps all the enemies up together, so if you're using a melee weapon or a punch-through weapon, you can use that to capitalize on your opponents being all clumped up, but with the 6-meter base radius, like the 12-second duration, and the damage doesn't exist, don't even bother mentioning it, it's just not good enough anymore. And that kind of sums up Vauban. He's usable, but he's just kind of not good enough anymore. Nothing he does is of any real value at current, because crowd control is just really not desired, or alternatively, a Warframe like, let's say, Inaros is invincible and can heal his team, and also has jaw-dropping amounts of crowd control that are actually easier to apply than Vauban's. So, while you can use a build like this, and they did update Repelling Bastille to make it a little bit better, and way more consistent as well, I can't really advise it. A build like this will certainly get you through a lot of content. You can do a lot of content with this build with no issues. And I'm not saying that you can't do sorties or something with Vauban. I'm just saying that if we were to compare him to a lot of other Warframes, he's kind of just doing a bad job. So, yeah, we're gonna do the level 80 test, because that's usually what I pit Warframes up against, and I'll be honest, this test is basically just showing you what the Super Vandal does, because Vauban's not really doing a whole lot here. And I know this video is, like, a little depressing, but, like, I just gotta be honest with you guys, right? Like, it's not... He's just not that great. His passive does kick in here whenever, or his new passive, rather, where if any enemy is incapacitated, then you get a 25% damage boost, and that's nice. 25% damage boost during the thing that is the thing Vauban does. That's a very useful passive, significantly better than his previous one. That is probably the most major of all of the improvements to Vauban with this patch, but it's just not enough. For this, like, engineering frame, I think a lot of people, like, I've said this on stream a whole lot, but I'm sure 1,000,001 people have said this. What Vauban really needs to be relevant is something that does damage, or just, like, vastly more utility, in a way that turns him into a kind of support, maybe giving him, like, a healing station, like an ability to generate ammo, so he could maybe do some things other Warframes can't. or like some kind of, I don't, there's a million things you can do with a theme like Vauban where he's Gadget Man. Like, of course you can give him a turret if you wanted to go that direction, although that's probably quite a lot of work for DE to do on Vauban. But yeah, like, he's just aged poorly. There was a time where Vauban was like super useful, and it has very much passed. So unfortunately, this video, it's not exactly like super in high spirits video or anything like that. But like I said, I just gotta be honest about like the current situation with Vauban. If you like the skin, he's playable, but it's just not really worth your time. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow.